Yeah, I mean, even with the unlockable skills, it doesn't really seem like... Because you don't have a choice of what weapon skills you have, because you just have the weapon skills, and those never change, ever. But with the unlockable skills, you have this tree and you can unlock stuff, but there doesn't actually seem to be that many that are any good. And a lot of them where it's like, you unlock it and it's like, oh, well, that's crap.
Well, maybe they realised that, you know, for a lot of Guild Wars 1, I didn't really change my...
Well, that was more of a problem with how the skills were doled out in Guild Wars 1. Because it's like you got them all immediately, and then you didn't get any for ages until you got to the elite skills.
Well, even the ones you did see were crap for a very long time. You're just like, how is that better than what it had? There'd always be some sort of weirdness to it. Like, there'd be a half and half. Like, they do, well, you get a bit of healing and a bit of protection with this one, and it's like, I just want all healing and all protection so I can pick based on the circumstance, please. Yeah. And it's like, you know, it was always a bit crap. And then the elite ones were hard to come by.
Well, we never got to the bit of the game where everything has elite skills. That was our problem.
True.
The second half...
Well, it's like I got a couple and they were both shit. Yeah. So it's like... and then you're wasting a skill slot because you have to carry around that capture thing.
You don't have to. If you want to do the elite skills in Guild Wars 1, the much easier way, you just look it up on the wiki. When you enter a zone, like the explorer area, you look up the wiki, look at what all the elites are, and see what their elite skills are, and then you're like, okay, there's none that I care about.
I don't know. It's like, in a way, there's quite a lot of parallels between how Guild Wars 1 combat works and Guild Wars 2. Yeah, Guild Wars 1 feels boring. And Guild Wars 2 feels great.
Well, it's because you're dynamic in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
Run the fuck around.
Plus, I'm not playing as a healer, which probably doesn't help.
Yes, as we've discussed about Guild Wars.
The removal of a clear healing role is a fantastic idea.
And it's like, is it just gone?
Yeah, well, no one is a straight healer. You can choose to be more of a healer if you want, but you're always in a combat role.
Right, yeah, that's cool.
Unless you play engineer with medkits, and then you don't even have a gun, you're just holding a medkit. Chuck shit out.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can do that. If you
be a
want
hero.
to. Yeah, but you can still set up a couple of turrets while you're at it.
Yeah, I guess.
So it gives you more... It does give you more... And you feel more involved with it than
you're always running around.
Yeah, you're always running around. It actually being positionally aware is kind of important.
Not falling off everything to your death. Is
I do that quite a lot.
It's like when we're on Mumble and all I hear is woo! Aww.
As I jump off a bridge. And in fairness, that one was kind of intentional because I thought I could land on this tree and sort of like bump my way down to the ground without having to walk all the way around this thing. But no, I didn't land in the tree.
No.
I just fell to the ground and died.
Maybe you need the tree to reduce fall damage.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure that would have been enough.
No,
it was a pretty big fall.
Jumping puzzles.
Yeah, I don't like those.
You don't like that one?
Well, no, I've decided... No, okay, yeah, you're right. There's in majority of the time, it's fine. And a lot of the... I don't know if it was just Asura territory, but a lot of the jumping in the early spots seemed to cause the camera to go fucking nuts.
Well, I showed you the one in the Lion's Arch, in that cave.
Man, that's fucking horrible. It's like, the problem I have with them is that they almost like they make use of a sort of a glitch. Not really a glitch, but they sort of make use of the quirkiness of the movement system.
Well, it's like
it's all about trying to find, is that platform at a gradient that I can stand on?
Yeah, it's all
and
like
if it's not, fall to your death.
Edge running.
And it just looks weird. It's like, I know it's not really I don't know.
There's some that are more legitimate, like that one I was telling you about in like the Silvari territory, where you're jumping on like giant mushrooms that look exactly like platforms.
It looks a bit janky, and in the React, I had real problems with jumping, actually getting the jumping to sort of just
I didn't even manage that one.
Yeah, I know.
That was the worst jumping puzzle.
Yeah, I just had problems with it actually doing what I wanted to do in that section. It's like it's not designed to be a platformer.
Well, it's because
like the controls are a lot more mobile and a lot better than they have been, but it's not made for that.
Well, you can't really be subtle about it, is the trouble. You can't like walk up to an edge. You can't edge closer to an edge because you only have like full run or not.
and the double tap accidentally dodges you for
turn that off.
Yeah.
If you're doing any kind of serious jumping puzzle, turn off double tap to dodge because otherwise you'll fall to your death all the time.
Yeah, as I did.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. I found it really. You get your time, you jump, you walk to the edge, and somehow not quite have enough range.
Well, a lot of the more difficult jumps are like right on the edge, where it's like you're jumping off a thing and you're like, there's no way I can actually jump that high, but then when you try it, you're like, whoop, and somehow you just get up there.
Yeah. It's weird looking. Yeah, I don't know.
Especially with the Asura.
I'm not a crazy fan of them. They're okay, but they're the jankiest bit, really, of the game. And the camera, they may have fixed the camera, I think, because it hasn't been so bad since we left Asura.
I'm not sure they've done anything.
Well, maybe not, but maybe it's just the area. It doesn't seem quite so janky.
What was causing it to jank?
Well, I don't know. What would happen was, like, when, you know, the steps, like, there's a lot of floating steps in, I forget what that place is called, like, the bottom of Metrica Province.
Yeah.
And just jumping up those, the camera would sort of go, zoom would just malfunction, and just go, blah, there you go, have like a sudden insta zoom on your ass.
I guess, but at least those kind of steps are just straight lines.
Yeah, it's not so bad. But you know, some of the more awkward ones, like the vines in Rata Sum, I was getting that all the fucking time doing that bit, and that's kind of awkward. Those jumps.
Yeah, sometimes it's annoying.
So there's been a few, and of course the Lion's Arch puzzle you were talking about is because it's a fucking cave and there's nowhere for the camera to go.
Yeah. It's like they needed a first-person view or something, because that would have made platforming much easier.
Actually, in that section, it probably would have done.
Yeah.
But...
Although, here's a hint for you, apparently, that I didn't really think of, but I should have. But because you're being an engineer, you have the rifle jump, and providing the vertical distance doesn't really change, you can just use the rifle jump to cover gaps.
I didn't think of that.
In theory.
Right, yeah.
I'm not sure how well that actually works.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah. But I think as soon as there's any kind of vertical distance, you just don't make it, so...
Yeah.
Be careful with that.
So falling down is fine.
Well, I'm not sure if falling down would even be fine, because when I've been playing on a Ranger, I have this stupid, like, greatsword attack where you just, like, charge forward and, like, cover a load of distance. But if you're going downhill at all, you basically fly through the air and then drop, which doesn't work very well, because you don't actually hit the enemies with the attack. You just go, miss, donk.
And land right in front of them.
So, yeah. Anyway, we've talked a lot of technical shit about Guild Wars. Do we want to talk about the actual game in general, rather than talking about every aspect?
No, I want to talk about the lack of lobbying and things like that. Specifically because of Jeff Gerstmann not liking it.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's nothing wrong with it. In actual fact, I think that's the best bit of the game's design.
Doesn't matter.
Is the lack of Well, I know, but it's an interesting point to make, because I think the best bit of it is the fact that it's not. It doesn't rely on partying. It doesn't rely on lobbying. It's the dynamic sort of flow of shit just happens, and people get involved, and I love that.
So my question about Guild Wars 2 is this the height of Guild Wars 2 already? Like, if I was to buy this at Christmas or something, and I came to some public event,
drop off, you mean?
Well, what if that happens, and then? Then you come to some public event thing, and then there's nobody around. What happens?
Well, theoretically, their server design means that population drop-off is less of an issue, because if it does drop off, then they can, in theory, start merging servers.
Oh, I see.
But that doesn't necessarily solve the problem of certain areas being low population.
I guess
it depends where everyone
starting areas.
You could theoretically...
I think starting areas will probably stay quite populated. Also, because in Guild Wars, there's sort of a... there's sort of a... Well, I don't know if it's always the case, but it's tempting to just do lots of characters. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
It's more tempting now, I think, than it was in previous games, because you've got a lot more combinations.
And because it doesn't take so long to get going.
Right.
Because your race defines the story. Certain elements of the story are affected by your choices. And then your profession within that choice can make some differences, although mostly it's thematic, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want, like, being an engineer as an Asura makes perfect sense. Being I forget what some of it. Being an engineer as Silvari is seems a bit dumb. Being anything as a human is fine.
Yeah, obviously.
But what was it, being an elementalist as Char is a bit weird, because the Flame Legion are supposed to be bad guys.
Yeah.
So you're a dude that wields fire.
Not necessarily fire, though, I guess.
I know. Yeah. So most of that is thematic, I suppose.
It doesn't really matter.
But, no, it doesn't. But yeah, it's like my personal story is playing out slightly different from Zach's, even though we're both Asura. We picked different things at the offset.
Creation.
Yeah, and so our stories are branching in different ways.
There is reason to play through what is essentially the start of the game multiple times, I guess. and even sort of the middle of the game, because because our personal stories are very slightly different based on what we chose in the character creation, but then there's the point where you choose one of the 3 orders, which I think is actually the next thing we're going to do in our personal stories.
Oh, really?
Okay.
You choose I'd heard about this. So yeah, we didn't get the choice
yet. I think that's the next mission. Or it's basically the first mission after level 20, so I think we're about due.
Okay.
But you choose one of the 3 orders, and then that is like a branch as well, so you go off onto one of these 3 different styles of... It's basically you have the Vigil dudes who are just like a military force, and then you have the Order of Whispers who are like spies, and then you have the Priory who are like scientists.
Order of Whispers sounds cool.
Well, I think I have to go for Order of Whispers because I'm a thief, and it's like that only makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
No Order of Explosions.
Well, I don't know. I was about to say any of those will probably include explosions because like military or spy or engineer is like all like explosions all the time.
It's true.
Explosions.
Whisperous explosion.
So yeah, I don't think the drop off is going to be that much problem, and also because of the weird way there's almost no difficulty curve to Guild Wars 2 because of the way it scales up, it scales high people down, and the way you progress through the story is almost perfectly timed to how fast you're leveling up.
Almost, yeah. We're sort of we seem weirdly underleveled for what.
Well, for this one area, and when I came to that area on a Sylvari character coming through from the other side, because those 2 bits link up into the same area, I had exactly the same problem with that character as well. I think that area is just kind of weird.
Yeah, maybe what the Asura and Sylvari routes are a bit shorter somehow, or.
Well, yeah, maybe, or just that area, that second area is just like not leveled.
Just jumps a bit too fast.
Yeah, it has a bit of a dodgy jump across the.
Yeah, it goes from 15 to 22 awfully quick.
Yeah, but we're surviving more or less.
Yeah,
I die a lot because I'm a thief.
I die reasonably frequently.
So what happens when you die?
But mainly because I'm shit. But
do you have to do?
I don't know how I'm shit at that.
No, you just teleport back to a waypoint unless someone reses you.
All right, okay. You just run back.
Yeah, it's quite funny because if you die somewhere and that's the point where you choose to log out. It's like we were fighting that fire elemental we mentioned earlier, and I died, and we sort of like, it's fucking midnight. It's fucking midnight. I gotta go to work in the morning. I'm gonna log out. See you later. Logged back in, and my corpse was still there.
Log back in,
and the fire elemental was still there, and my corpse was there. Well, it's probably a different one by that point, but my corpse was still in the middle of it, and it's like, oh, no one's gonna res me then.
You have to log in when the room is clear to get reses in there. So yeah, I don't think the population will be a problem, and also because as I've discovered, the toughest enemies that appear in the dynamic events you get veteran ones which are not that tough. They're average toughness, and you can beat veterans 1-on-1
just about
by yourself pretty much, and champions which are the toughest ones that randomly are in the world events. Those I think you need about 3 people to manage one of those if you're all pretty good on it.
Right.
If you're paying attention. So even with that lower population, you might still be able to get through quite a lot of it.
We've seen 1 or 2 champions so far, haven't we? And they were pretty awkward.
I can't remember which ones they would have even been. I'm not sure I was paying attention.
No.
Plenty of veterans.
I can't remember what it was, but yeah, plenty of veterans. Including that cave filled with nothing but veterans.
Yeah, that was one of those secret areas.
That owned us.
Yeah, well, that was also sort of because you just charged in, and then I just charged in.
I wasn't expecting it to be that tough.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh wait, everyone in here is veterans.
Oh dear.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
Creamed.